This is the one we've been waiting for, the decider in the Vodafone Super 12. The Brumbies taking on the Sharks from South Africa.
With Phil Kearns, this is a classy outfit.
Yeah, they're a very, very good side. From last year up into second place, the key players there that we can see is certainly H.A. Fenter at number 8. He's been sensational, the cornerstone of the pack. And if you look in the back row, in the backs, the Brumbies have to close down James and Halstead. They've been a phenomenal combination this year. So they're the guys, 10 and 12. Close them down and they've got the game.
A great welcome for the Brumbies, Greg Martin.
Absolutely, and this home crowd, they haven't let them down since the final last year. Key players for them is George Smith in jersey 7. He's loomed so large over the games the last few weeks, totally dominated them. After he's finished doing that, as you'd expect, Larkham and Roth will be the 2 feature players.
The pressure on this man in the middle, Paddy O'Brien from New Zealand, but he knows what a big match pressure is all about. He'll be assisted by Paul Honus and also Steve Walsh. The 2001 Super 12 final underway. First touch there for David Giffen and the Brumbies. Here's George Smith. Big defence on the classy number 7, but again he got over the advantage line. Now it's Gregan, and back it goes to Larkham inside the 22, looking for the safety of the touchline, but he doesn't find it. And Davidson throws it back in to Kaiser, and he returns the compliment. Roth up towards the 10-metre mark. Good strong run by Joe Roth. Confident start by the home side. Kafer, Walker gave it back on the inside. That was Darwin, and now Williams. And they drive it up towards the halfway now. Gregan, Walker, Larkham, and out here it's Holbeck with an early touch in the headgear tonight. James Holbeck in there for Sterling Mortlock, but just into touch.
Interesting, they just targeted Steve Larkham there. Mark Andrews came across with a late hit, tried to hold him down, put in a little cheapie. But very confident start from the Brumbies.
Yeah, Holbeck got latched onto the end of that. I thought he might have just stayed in. Came to some good defence there. That's great stuff. He was probably outweighed fairly heavily there, Craig Davidson, but made the tackle. Pretty brisk start to the game. Sharks brutal as we'd expect.
Well, Joe Roth, the people's choice, super confident there. Just pushing across, forcing the defence. And he was the one that started that Brumbies attack. And a little bit of brilliance from Andrew Walker, a pass on the inside.
Okay, guys, just hold it, please. John, hold it.
Joe Roth heading to probably France at the end of the international season down under. So Smith with the first throw into the line-out. And it's the Sharks with the touch of the ball for the first time. And they drive it well. Good work by the Sharks. Head-to-head for these 2 teams. They've played 6 times. The Sharks have won 4, the Brumbies 2. And that's history now. It's all on the line here in the final. Roth, perfectly positioned. He's going to rubber kick it down towards the opposition 22. Can't find touch. And they throw it back into Davidson. And he will make sure of finding touch. A couple of metres inside Brumbies territory.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be fairly intent, the Sharks, to try a bit of early field position. It's one of the best ways to shut up a big home crowd, a big loud home crowd, is to get points on the board first, and that's what the Sharks would be after. Get in front and stay there all day.
Jeremy Paul hoping he's done enough to wear the Wallaby number 2 jersey this year. Here's Ryan in there for Finnegan. Expect him to be hitting it up like that throughout the match, a la Owen Finnegan. Harrison, penalty. Holding on.
They were entitled to it.
Yeah, obviously his men cleaning out didn't get there quick enough to Justin Harrison. The Sharks made it obvious he was hanging on to it. There's Harrison on the ground. Giffen gets to the man, but not quick enough. Ineffective clean out, I'd describe that as.
And great strength from the South African then. I think it might have been A.J. Fenter over the top.
John Smith with the throw into the line-out.
We saw a big maul before from the line-out from the Sharks. Be interesting if they adopt that as a tactic or not. The Brumbies haven't been tested in that area.
Well, they go to AJ Venter, and it works for them.
Stay here. Come back, come back.
Tapped it down to LaRue, and now it's cleared to Butch James. He finds a runner. We're off. In fact, Larkin was in there to make the tackle. Now Davison to the short side. No way through there. George Smith looking to pull for that one, but it's a good clean out by the Sharks. Brits gives it back to James, and now he's kicking, turning Graham Bond round.
Clear mark. Where you are. Yep, where you are, back here.
Aiming the mark.
You don't see Graham Bond kicking too often. No, he's going to take it himself.
I think that could be the reason why.
You don't laugh about things like that.
You do when you're a forward.
Kernsey, if we just have a look this line out, the last two, as you say, the Sharks have taken them down and driven it. It seems to be their tactic. They're trying to suck in all those Brumbies defenders to give them an advantage. They're also using the pick and drive at this early stage of the game. They seem to want to commit those Brumbies defenders who want to go laterally.
Don Smith, Springbok hooker. He has 10 caps to his credit. 34th Super 12 match. Find the target again, the Sharks. So this is a great attacking opportunity for them. Look at the drive, and coming out of it, LaRue. And that was really a great move by the Sharks, catching the Brumbies napping, and now they're only about a metre out. Davidson. This is Halstead playing advantage here, right in front of the uprights.
Oh, late hit on George Smith wide too.
And it's on over on the far side.
Yeah, that was, I'm sure the referee will want to have a look at it, a chat to Steve Walsh Jr.
Could very well be reversed.
After your whistle, number 10 Black came in, but I suspect you didn't hear the whistle. Then number 15 came in. Go back to the original.
Yep.
Tell them you're in control.
Yep.
We're looking for it, right?
Okay. Just leave it to us, all right? And them as well.
Okay, just a bit of a warning on the run there from Paddy O'Brien.
Paul, whereabouts? Here?
But with Stephen Larkham well and truly out of the defensive line, trying to put pressure on Butch James.
So the Sharks looking to open their scoring account here in the 2001 final.
Just tell Warren not to chase anything like that. Warren Brits. He didn't go in, but he was going.
You watch, if we get to see it, Davidson through it. Well, this is after the whistle has gone. Butch James, the second tackle this year, he's nearly used his arms on. It was after the whistle, and there was no nonsense going to be put up with there. Andrew Walker stepping into the fray as well. Joe Roff's there with Blanche, a lot of pushing. Not too much in it.
But Butch James about to take this shot at goal, and he is definitely one of the more aggressive number 10s in the game. Sometimes a little recklessly.
As his coach says, he certainly defends his channel. Can he slot the opening goal? No, it's away to the left. He's missed it. Maybe some big match nerves. Didn't kick all that well last week in the semi-final against the Cats. Played very well, but his goal kicking let him down a bit. So a golden opportunity missed there. And after 7 minutes, it's 0-0. The Brumbies from the ACT in Australia, and the Sharks, the Durban-based Sharks from South Africa. Of course, they also represent provinces of Border and Eastern Province. Graham Bond inside his own 22. Back it goes to Andrew Walker, who has a very good punt. There it is. Nice touch. What a kick.
It looks like a good decision for Graham Bond to try it back to Andrew Walker, certainly. Have a look at that for field position. He's gone for the 22 to only 7 metres outside the other 22. There's a move here popular with female fans.
No, Paul, I can't let you. Give me.
Dan Rensburg changing his shorts.
Right. Let's go.
Smith. Looks for Vandenberg and finds him. Causing some problems for the Brumbies from those lineouts.
They controlled that one pretty well. You can hear George Gregan directing traffic, calling the Brumbies into which side they need to be defending. That's the 4th time they've tried it. 3 have worked, and the Brumbies have shut that one down pretty well.
Yeah, it might have been Ben Darwin in there fracturing, but it was the communication. That was the key to the Brumbies fracturing that one. The Sharks keen to take them on up front, to commit defenders.
And listen.
It is a...
Listen, fellas, I didn't call until you both engaged. Wait for me. Crouch and hold. Sharks,
Ollie
straighten up.
LaRue, Smith and Finn in the front row for the Sharks, up against Young, Paul and Darwin. Gregan with the put in. Now Gregan gives it to Larkham. And running on that angle run was Holbeck again. Gregan, Larkham the playmaker, Kafer up towards the 22. Good defence by the Sharks. Gregan, Larkham double round with Gregan, and now Jeremy Paul inside the 22. This is where the Brumbies are so dangerous, and now it's Kafer dummy. Brits doesn't fall for it, chases him, throws him into the turf, and now it's Gregan. He has to go to ground. Good clean out there by the Brumbies, though, just as the Sharks tried to snaffle it, and now Roth thought he spotted an opening. It soon closed. 0-all the score, but the Brumbies hot on attack. Big Jim Williams. Gregan, it's sloppy, going backwards. Now it's Bond. And oh, what about the tackle from James? He went in, drove his shoulder into him, but it's play on.
No, he's fine. Come back.
And now that's great work by the Sharks. They've forced the turnover. And finding touch 10 metres inside Brumbies territory.
Well, we've used the word brutal already. That defence was sensational by the Sharks. Great scrambling. The Brumbies threw a fair bit at them. And in the end, they came up with a great touch finder. There's Butch James. He's still, well, he's using his arms because he still had hold of his jersey there. He is a punishing defender.
Yeah, he doesn't attempt at any point to wrap his arms around the defender. He just sticks a shoulder out there and the arm's wide.
Number 8 Brumbies, get in.
And I tell you what, the target certainly feels it when he launches into them. And now it's Ryan, 10 metres from the halfway mark.
There's player here on the deck, can't play it. Yep. You can't play it when you're on the deck.
Yeah. Held onto the ball there, Peter Ryan, but George Gregan asked the question about last feet. I think it was Ollie LaRue was in there. I'm not sure whether he got behind the last feet. There he is there. Butch James is on the... You can't tell from that angle. Certainly Peter Ryan was still fiddling with it.
I thought he was first man there on his feet, though. No rack for him. Well, I know your point.
Well, Henri LaRue, otherwise known as Ollie, has trimmed down about 5 or 6 kilos this year. He's down to a very slim, about 125, 126 kilos, which is pretty good. He has been much heavier in the past, and he's playing much better for it.
67th Super 12 appearance for Ollie LaRue. Second attempted goal for Butch James. And he struck it pretty well, but not well enough. It's out to the left again. That's two he's pushed out to the left. So the radar not working for the fly half from the Sharks, and it's still 0-all after 12 minutes. And in a final, you have to make the most of those opportunities.
Let's go now, this time, please.
Well, they had a shot at the short line out to recover it. Walker looks like he's going to place it for his forwards to chase. Going long.
The March running onto it and kicking ahead. It's play on, though.
Oh, Graham Bond, strong.
We've seen so much of that from Graham Bond in recent weeks. Kafer.
Two knock-ons, it'll do. First one by White. Two knock-ons, black scrum.
Right up in Kafer's face on that occasion.
He had a big look too. They're so fast. They're rushing up in defence and putting the pressure on the Brumbies.
Hold. Let's go.
Ray Davidson is picked up at the back by AJ Venter, and the support there coming from Van Rensburg. Driving ahead now, the Sharks. And on the far side, James looking for a runner. What? Over there to Loveshot, the fullback, but Joe Roth was there, and he drills it downfield, but didn't have much of an angle to play with.
The Sharks have been more efficient. And here they go again.
Good two-handed take from the line-out. They're up on the Brumbies 22. Davidson fires it out to James. The inside pass. Halstead. George Smith read that pretty well. Still around that 22-metre mark. James. Watt got away from one. Kicking over the top is Butch James. Andrew Walker is back there to clean up, though, for the Brumbies. Well, they were lucky that Walker was back there because that was good work again by the Sharks. What a start.
And this man, Butch James, brilliance here. Off the right foot, kept chasing. I think he was hoping that Lobsher was a bit quicker through on it. Great play. The Sharks, well, they love to attack off that line out. That time they used the option. Go to 6 and throw back into the 3 channel. All the pressure on the Brumbies at this stage.
Not unlike last week in the semi-final when the Queensland Reds came out and really gave it to the Brumbies, but they were able to absorb that pressure, sign of a good team. And then, of course, they went away with it. But the Sharks certainly taking it to them tonight. Davidson nudging it over the top, and Roth is back there. Again, no real angle to play with. Can't find touch, and Davidson takes it back downfield. Walker, it's off the chest, so it's play on. To Blanche.
It's all right, Steve. Yep. Steve!
Yeah, you could hear Paddy O'Brien trying to tell Steve Walsh Jr. he thought it was all right, but that's where he thought it went out with the angle. The Blanche disappointed with that. He had no room to work in.
Bring him down, Mark, please.
A little bit of magic from Joe Roth in that nudge that he originally put downfield.
Stay there.
Good take from Gifford, and now it's Kafar. Holbeck trying to punch a hole through the defence. Inside the 22, the Brumbies, and it's Gregan now out to Jeremy Paul. He met some pretty stiff opposition, though. Gregan, inside pass, Ryan. He gives it back to Williams. Gregan, Roth, Larkham. This is Holbeck driving for the line. And at the touch and goal.
Out and goal. 22.
Kaiser and Lobsher combined to send Holbeck, who's a big man, over the sideline. At 22, there's no one back for the Brumbies.
They go long with the restart, and Roth is back there now.
Is that too big?
Oh, yes, it is. The Sharks, while they're dominating the territory, they're not dominating the scoreboard at the moment. They'll want to be turning some of this possession and territorial advantage into points before too long, and Ollie Naru's going to try and do something about it. He charges into the 22. Davidson. James. Big runners out in the centres. Picked up now at Venter, and it's been stolen by George Smith, and he gets the kick in.
Oh, and it's a handy one too.
What a kick, George Smith. It was like a one-man act out there on that occasion.
Make sure you stay in there.
Jim Williams went into the match with a rib
Hold your
injury he's been
10.
carrying for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Now it's Giffen. It's a good take.
Stay back, stay back.
And Gregan, Larkham, Holbeck, he's had plenty to do early on.
Come on, tackler. It's okay.
This time Larkham trying to grab a kick, but waiting for him back there. It was Lobsher. Davidson is in the spot of bother there. Needs support.
Use your feet.
There's a turnover.
And Gregan, grab a kick ahead. Justin Swart coming back, just looking at it. Popped up on the inside. It's play on!
That was a very late call.
The touch judge had 2 goes at it. It went up, it went down, it went back up again. Oh, my goodness. He didn't know what to do. Great rubber kick. They're not scared to put it in behind the Sharks. Justin Swart took his eyes off it. He's definitely... Wow.
Was he in the air? If he was in the air, it's play on. Gregan can't believe it. The bench can't believe it.
Well, unresolved. Sharks ball, challenged by the Brumbies.
And almost stolen again by Giffen, who's really enjoying his battle out there against Andrews.
Stay.
So it's still 0-0 in the final, halfway through the first half.
No advantage, black ball.
He was playing advantage there because of the Giffen knock-on, trying to steal that line-out ball.
Don't go too quick. Not bad.
George Smith not quite having the impact yet tonight.
Crouch and hold only. Engage.
But I tell you what, a mighty fine kick. Big scrum here. Brumbies starting to dominate a little bit there. That was solid.
Swat got the kick away as Gregan challenged. The Jeremy Paul will throw to the back. He finds Harrison. So great field position here for the Brumbies as they look to open the scoring in the final. Advantage here for the Brumbies. Larkin stepping, running back into the traffic, laying it back now. Gregan is down in back play, but they charge ahead the Brumbies now. This is Jim Williams going nowhere though. Oh, penalty again. Touch judge's flag is out as well. Gregan looks to be in a distressed state.
Yeah, I just caught it out of the corner of my eye. There was a bit of late violence.
Mark Andrews went on with this. Keeps going. The ball's gone a mile.
Oh dear.
Right line through the pass. He went on the tackle and basically dumped him. He didn't spit that.
Yellow or just a penalty?
No, it's a penalty and talked to him severely. All right. And he can't carry the tackle on once the ball's gone.
This here?
It's one of their tactics to upset Gregan.
You must listen to me though. You can't carry the tackle on. This one, okay, but I'm going to tell you, he's seen it. It's a penalty only. You remember now I've spoken. Remember I've now warned you. Thank you.
Now that's twice we've seen Mark Andrews go on with tackles. One with Larkin, one with Gregan. They've targeted the key players. We've seen at the breakdown. We mentioned George Smith not being as dominant yet, but the effective thing they're doing is bashing him out of the way at the breakdown.
The radar's working for Andrew Walker, and it is 3-0. The Brumbies over the Sharks.
Well, they've survived the first quarter softening up period onslaught, the Brumbies, and they've come away with 3 points. The Sharks have had all the running, and very rarely have the Brumbies made any sort of incursion into their territory. As Kernsey asked, can they keep this brutal efficiency and pace up, the Sharks?
It's James. Giffen goes high and takes it well. Well supported. And now Gregan.
Come out, wide. Play on.
Let's play on, and Jim Williams has it for the Brumbies.
Come out.
Gregan kicking ahead again, wanting to play it down inside Sharks territory. Swat sends it across to Lobsher. Larkin is back there. Well, could be in a spot of bother here. Needs support.
Leave it. Stay here,
Well, they got back just in the nick of time, the Brumbies. Now it's back to Kafer. He finds touch. Midway between the 22 and the halfway mark. Brumbies territory.
The first short line out of the game.
And it goes against the throat. But now Justin Harrison couldn't handle it.
15 scrum.
Well, he did all the hard work, didn't he, Justin Harrison? And just couldn't hold on to it.
Well, that's the third one they've pilfered on the Sharks' throw. One of the strengths of the Brumbies.
Fellas, wait for the call. Crouch and hold.
Yeah, we saw them disrupt the Queensland line out last week.
Engage.
Venter. And now Halstead. It's a good strong run. Davidson waiting for it now. He has it. Vandenberg back to Davidson. Etienne Finn went into solid tackle on the 22. Halstead again. Davidson to the short side. James. Over it goes. Stefan to Blanche. A good step. Got a great pass away as well, but the corner flag is gone. They're in the touch over there. Well, I think they fancy their chances down the short side, and it almost paid off for the Sharks.
Well, it was Roth who saved the day here, but Blanche did well to step inside. Walker slipped over. Kafer saved the day. James could have gotten there. Roth, how many times has he saved one last weekend as well?
They've gone short to Giffen.
Now they try and control it. And it's been stolen by the Sharks. Turnover. And pressure again on the Brumbies defence. The Sharks looking for their first points in the match. Get the penalty. This time he has found the target, and we're locked up at 3-all. 28th minute, the Brumbies 3, the Sharks 3 in the Vodafone Super 12 final of 2001.
Oh, Bill Young's trying valiantly. Sharks bench pretty happy.
Yeah, they're usually hanging around at their home ground, Absa Stadium, in a sarong and a singlet while they're waiting to go on. Here they're rugged up and not looking forward to it. There's Matt Weaver in jersey 17. He's replaced Bill Young. He won't be back, Bill Young. But certainly that's good reward, those 3 points for the Sharks. Their last 5 minutes has been full-on attack of the Brumbies line.
Yeah, the Wallaby selectors will be very, very disappointed about Bill Young's injury there.
The Brumbies will be as well, because we saw they lost Sterling Mortlock last week as Joe Roth goes through and snaffles that restart. And Larkin. Oh, he's got him.
Go away.
They've got Butch James for the shoulder charge.
Keep the tackles down, okay? Go back. Keep the tackles down. Go away. Go away. Timmy, it's all right. It's reaction. Yeah, I've got him. It's good.
Hey. He's all right. Take a shot, Paddy.
Walker will be called upon to try and put the Brumbies back in front.
Now, how many times, week after week after week, we talk about Butch James and his tackling style. If he's tried to wrap an arm around them,
No, that's all right. Here's our dangerous.
I'm a monkey's uncle.
I'd rather talk about his wonderful attacking skills myself. Occasionally he doesn't use his arms, but I'm sure I heard you a few weeks ago saying what's wrong with shoulder charge.
Well, and I totally stick by that.
He's having a chat to Mark Andrew.
He's got to go lower.
He's got to go lower. They haven't talked about the arms.
Well, I don't think there is anything wrong with shoulder charges, but if it's in the rules of the game, then you've got to play by them.
Thank goodness we're not referees.
Andrew Walker. Looking to maintain that 100% record. Sweet. No problem. 6-3. The ACT Brumbies over the Sharks from South Africa.
Yeah, I think, is that about his 10th shot of the year? He hits it with such composure. Unflappable rugby player, Andrew Walker. Probably the smallest player on the field. Nothing disturbs him.
Well, here's Butch James. The thing about Butch is he's never too far from the action.
No, he's an outstanding player. Just needs to do a bit of work on his technique and defence.
George Smith. Great chase from Smith. And now Walker chipping over the top. They were waiting for him. Davidson it was, and that's the halfway mark. Smith. Venter, they go wide, but the bounce was not a good one for them.
But I think he is playing advantage, Parky.
Number seven.
Yeah, George Smith was out of the blocks before the starter let his gun go. He and Butch James have been the two busiest players on the field. There's Smith now shaking hands with the Sharks backline. This is a good pass. Well, it had the right intentions from AJ Fento. I don't know why Kaiser let that go. Very slippery out there.
Hasn't been heavy rain, but on a cold night, it's been enough to cause a few problems with the handling.
George, you're too quick. space. Hold it, yeah.
Just heard Paddy O'Brien telling George Smith he's just a bit too quick. We've known that all year.
Saw that ruck and maul stat, 33 to the Brumbies, only 19 to the Sharks, indicative of the different ways the teams play. Brits.
So it's the Sharks. Handy field position again. They drive it up towards the 22. Davidson. Halstead. Shake off Larkin. All the Brumbies defenders in there.
Stay here.
James, Venter, and now the captain, Andrews, having a run. Inside the 22, Davidson. Etienne Finn. Back to Davidson. Good continuity here. Butch James taken around the bootlaces by Ben Darwin. Well, they almost made a mess of that. It's Finnegan taken by Gregan and also Bond. But it's still there for the Sharks, and Davidson gives it to James. Cut out pass, they cocked it up. Back it comes down to Roth and Walker with a bit of space over there. Piece of kick as well, isn't it? Oh.
He must have been outside by 27 millimetres, Andrew Walker.
Well, Harrison, take a bow. He's won that one, but it's sloppy at the back.
Well, I think his kicking foot was outside the 22, and his foot was inside the 22.
Yep, that's what the key is. It's the takeoff foot. It was still inside.
No.
Twice that Harrison pretty much won the line-out, but then just couldn't control the ball.
God, no, don't go through. Don't even think about it. Crouch and hold.
So it's now Weaver, Paul and Darwin in that front row for the Brumbies. A great opportunity for Matt Weaver. Oh, strong Venter! He ducked under that tackle from Gregan. And now it's Ollie LaRue. Can they crack the Brumbies' defence this time? Kaiser.
He has.
And there's a turnover here too, Clarkie.
Great work, and Roth in some trouble here.
Offside.
Well, the penalty goes to the Brumbies to save the day.
Great tackle, Rod Kafer.
Yeah, his tackle and also the backline defence there, they just kept sliding. They were outnumbered, but they just kept on pushing upwards and outwards and did so well there, the Brumbies. That was Kafer's effort in the end. Who's that in there first?
Larkham.
That shows the backs aren't scared to do the work to secure the possession. Incredible pressure, but it was offside pressure from the Sharks. George Gregan letting Paddy O'Brien know.
Here we go.
Geez, the work rate of the two props from the Sharks has been phenomenal. Ollie LaRue and Etienne Finn have punched the ball up probably half a dozen times each. Great win at the back.
Gregan gives it across to Kafer.
Oh, that is a huge hit again by Butch Jones on Kafer.
Larkham inside the 22, no problem with that. Finds touch, couple metres inside Sharks territory.
You would need a very, very big hit to hurt the tugboat jet cat Rod Kafer.
I like some of the inside centre stats. Trevor Halstead, number 12 for the Sharks, one of the better inside centres in the competition this year, 100 kilograms, and he's 10 centimetres taller than Rod Kafer, yet he's 3 kilograms lighter. Sums him up. He's a big unit anyway, Halstead. A drive again for the line-out for the Sharks.
Win for Andrews at the front. Now it's James, and kicking this time. Roth is back inside his 22.
Oh, he's got the wrong ankle. Bounce on that ball. It was a technically perfect cross-field torpedo kick. Just had a left-handed curve on it at the end.
Larkham with an opportunity to break out here. Walker gave it to Jeremy Paul.
Let it go.
They're playing advantage here.
Oh, there goes Butch Jones again.
Go away. Go away. He's held on the ground. Go back. Go. Go away. Come here.
Well, he's reversed the penalty here. It's against George Gregan.
Before the game, George, we talked about discipline. If this cost you the final, mate, have a think about it. Silly.
Well, it's got George Gregan for back chat. He gave Mark Andrews a verbal spray in front of the referee.
Hit your own man to come in, mate.
Yeah, well, the penalty was against Butch Jones, but ironically, he ends up having the shot at goal after Gregan argued. Have a look at James come in. Supposed to be bound to another man, of course, rather than just charging him with his shoulders. So what went on here?
George is saying that's 2. Andrews decides to get involved, have a bit of a push and shove. George is still saying that's twice.
It's away to the left again. So, Brumbies still lead 6-3. 2 penalties to 1. 1 minute and a half remaining in the first half. It's a tight tussle in Canberra, as we expected. As Phil Kern said, can the Sharks go the full distance after that horrific travel schedule this week? Walker. There's plenty of air.
Oh, Ollie LaRue, great take.
Well, the good teams score in these championship minutes, and no, Larkin almost grabbed hold of that grubber.
Obja. Etienne Finn.
Come out, leave it. Stay here.
Davidson, good pick up by James, kicking now for to Blanche, who's a real flyer. And Roth. Got away from one. Roth, little grubber kick. And picked up brilliantly. And kicked it into the hand of Ollie LaRue. And they're going to earn the throw into the line-out.
What about that for rugby, Phil Kearns?
You need some special skill to be able to do that. Oh, God, Australian rugby's going to miss this bloke for the next year or 2.
You need a big pair of shorts to contain what you need to have done that. From that distance out, it took guts and ability.
Now it's Larkin. Wide they go. Peter Ryan kicking.
Oh, what about that nudge?
It's a good torpedo. And Ricardo Lobsher goes back to pick it up. A couple of metres out from his own line. It's not a great kick. And Walker has it on the halfway. He's going to go to the air. No, he's shaped for a while. Now he's going to have to release as the halftime siren sounds here.
Lazy running.
Lazy running. So a penalty to the Sharks.
And they're away.
Davidson hands it off to the support.
No, it's fine.
James goes wide. Smith is out there, the hooker. Oh, it's physical in there, let me tell you. Another penalty.
Get out of it.
Andrews wants to go quickly.
No.
You've got to take the points. The siren's gone.
I don't care, don't fall there.
What Kafer pleading that he couldn't get out of there.
So Butch James. Mark Andrews said, if we kick it out, can we have the line out? He said no, so this will be the last play of the first half of the final.
Well, there starts to become a bit of pressure on Butch James here. He hasn't kicked well tonight. He's got 1. This is his 5th. So if he does miss this, he just starts to have a bit of pressure on the rest of his game.
I can feel you trying to put a hoodoo on him from here, Phil Kearns. He's actually, the 3 that he's missed, he's hooked them all. So he hasn't been going to school. Maybe this is the one where he does. Pushing them to the left, the ones he's missed.
He's striking them cleanly, no problem with distance.
Will it be all square? There's the angle, and it's not a bad attempt. Right on the stroke of half-time. It's there.
Great kick.
We've got a drawn ball game after the first 40. The Brumbies with 2 penalties. The Sharks with 2 penalties. And it's 6-all. Half-time in the Super 12 final. Paddy O'Brien is the referee. He says, let's get into the action in the second half. 6-all in the final. Roth Knocking that on.
I don't think Joe Roth thought that the ball was actually going to get to him. He was just there, and he was there for crumbs.
They're playing advantage, but it's over now because they fine touch the Sharks about 3 metres or so from halfway.
It's about this time when you know that the guys that you've had on the bench and are working for you all year have got to do the job. They're missing Finnegan, they're missing Mortlock, they've lost Bill Young. The reserves really have to step up to the mark. It's the makings of a great team.
Of course, the Sharks have some fairly handy performers on the bench as well, with Heffy Dutoy, Andre Snyman, Springboks. Now it's Larkham. Rubber kick. Bounces good.
That's touched.
And now it's Roth taking them on.
Is he any good?
He's good, all right. That's the halfway mark. Now it's Gregan electing to just grubber kick it down to Swart.
Here we go.
Well, that kick went out. It wasn't too bad in the end, but it was a fairly agricultural swipe. Just threw it up and let the leg swing at it. No real style.
Agricultural?
As Captain Mark Andrews will be pretty happy, being the farmer from inland from Durban.
You know what I mean? There's no real technique or style. You just toss it up and let it loose.
You're having a crack at my golf game again, aren't you? Larkham now for the Brumbies, and Holbeck. Double round. Oh, it's stolen there by Bush James.
What can't he do? Turnover.
But now it's back for the Brumbies. And it's Kafer, taken by James, and now it's Harrison.
There it goes, stay back.
Gregan. Larkham. Oh, Roth.
Advantage.
He's human.
Try the knock on.
Cut out pass.
I didn't miss one before, though. No.
You know, they're not getting their pattern going yet, the Brumbies. That's twice this half they've had lineouts, and both times they've decided to go wide. I think they're having a look for something, maybe looking to spread the defence. You can hear George Gregan, he's predicting exactly that event.
And Roth from inside the 22. And finds touch. Davidson ran up the touchline a couple of metres and threw it in. Quick throw in, and it's play on, and now Finn.
Oh, good long ball from the tight head prop.
Kaiser got it across to Dustin Swart. The Brumbies scramble across in defence. It's sloppy.
Lost forward, 14 wide.
Well, that was called by the touch judge, Paul Honus. I could just pick it up.
14 wide.
Don't you get excited when a tight head prop throws a good ball, Guernsey?
The modern game, Greg Martin. In the old days, they couldn't do that.
They weren't allowed to.
You'd be dropped for doing that.
Yeah,
Great to see.
Shark, stay.
Jim Williams carrying the rib injury, but so far so good. Big number 8 still out there.
Break it. Come on up, fellas.
Peter Ryan just doesn't have the attacking penetration of Owen Finnegan.
Well, I think the technical term is the oomph in attack. It's just not, he's the penetrator that they go to after those 5 or 6 phases, sometimes more. They're really missing Finnegan in attack. Not in defence, but in attack they are.
AJ Venter lays it back for Davidson, and now it's James. It's a good ball to Halstead. Still there. Alexander Vandenberg takes it forward. Beyond Kaiser, taken by Smith, who's on his feet.
He's all right.
And pilfered that one. Good work, George Smith.
Excuse me, that is fantastic.
Stay back.
Well, he's made an impact early in this half.
Larkham now across to Walker. Rubber kick ahead. Britt's got back there. Good blindside flanker work. Lob shot. Mark Andrews goes in to assist. Davidson. James, big long ball, and George Smith is in there like a flash, putting the pressure on them. Talk about coverage on the field, George Smith, from one breakdown, and there he is out there putting pressure on the outside centre.
If we can have another look at that, I would think that you'll see Venter's eyes. You have a look at his eyes. Does he take his eyes off the ball? I think it might have just been before we had a look. He knew George Smith was coming.
I think he was just trying to pop that ball up on the inside. Didn't quite work for him. Just skidded on a little bit. Like a wet green, it just skipped on.
Certainly, yeah, it does skid. I think that's probably the way to call it. George Smith just starting to come into this game in this half. He's already responsible for 3 turnovers in this first 5 minutes.
Crouch and hold only. Engage.
So Gregan.
Yeah, come on.
It was around this time in the semi-final against the Reds last week that the Brumbies really started to show the upper hand. Now it's Holbeck.
Geez, he's been courageous, hasn't he, Jimmy Holbeck, flying into them.
Well, he's one of the survivors from the '97 campaign. He's had a horrendous couple of seasons with injury. And now it's there for Jim Williams. He just manages to hold on.
Stay back, Black, stay back!
Oh.
Offside.
He's quick, but no one's that quick.
Albert Vandenberg.
Can't come on the side.
Penalised.
Exactly what I just told him.
George and Paddy, they're vying for referee of the year from the Super 12, those two.
From the back, fellas, please.
He's like Inspector Gadget, Albert Vandenberg. That arm just came out. We couldn't see him, but we could see the arm.
Philippus Albertus Vandenberg.
Excuse me?
Number 4. Albert to his mates.
I can see why. Well, while we've got a chance, can you explain to me why I only ever know AJ Venter? What is there a real name there, AJ Venter?
He's an Albertus as well. Albertus Johannes, I think it is.
I knew you'd know.
This is Andrew Walker.
He's just done the Sterling Mortlock out there, planted a mark in front of the ball.
This is crucial. So important to get first points in the second half. 6 all at half time. 7 minutes gone in the second. You see the rain looks to be getting a little heavier. Walker. The crowd will tell you, the touch judges will tell you, it's spot on. So it is 3 from 3. They're rugging up on the bench. Smiles there from Travis Hall, Mark Bartholomew's. Big Radicki Samo has won the spot on the bench ahead of Desi Tuivai for the Brumbies. We should see the big ex-Fijian in action sometime in the second half.
He's quite a unique player too. James kicks off as the rain starts coming down. George Smith is under it.
Come back, stay back.
Safely won and comes back to George Gregan.
9-6 the Brumbies. And now Roth. All in the left arm and the right fin going. He did well to keep it in near the play. Larkin. This is Harrison. Weaver on there for Bill Young. We're told that Bill Young, the injury may not be as severe as first thought. Thinking about the upcoming internationals, would be well and truly in the reckoning as far as the Wallabies are concerned. Holbeck.
Now we're getting into the realm of 7th phase. This is where the Brumbies start to play rugby. This is where they usually use Finnegan.
Well, this time it was picked up by Albert Vandenberg and
George Gregan ripped it straight out of his hands, didn't he?
Walker inside to David Giffen. Tackled by Warren Brits. Walker inside Ryan. And now George Smith releases. Picked up by Walker. And still there for the Brumbies. They'll work it to the short side. Peter Ryan dummying, taking it up to the halfway mark. Advantage being played here.
An ironic pat on the chest for Craig Davidson from George Gregan, congratulating him on giving away that penalty.
Geez, their defence is fantastic, the Sharks. Absolutely awesome.
Have a look at this,
Ryan lays
Gansey.
the ball back. Davidson just in the way.
You have a look at this bit, though. He'll just give him a pat on the chest and thank him for the penalty. Didn't see it.
George pretty worked up tonight, as you would be. Big Max Gregan, born earlier in the week. So it's been a big week for George, particularly if he wins tonight.
Max Gregan, remember the name. Will he go on to wear the number 9 jersey? Jeremy Paul finds Harrison. Great field position now for the Brumbies. The crowd really getting behind them. Holbeck evaded that tackle from Butch James, but they continue to drive it ahead. Now it's Jeremy Paul.
Oh, what a ball!
Joe Ruff scores the try. They are so dangerous early in the second half, and Joe Ruff, in possibly his last Super 12 final for some time, at least a year or so, as he heads to Europe, is all smiles. The leading try scorer for the Brumbies.
You want to talk modern day forwards, and here's one there. Modern day front row forwards go to the line, suck in 2 defenders, and then get the arms 3 over the top and let loose one of the world's best wingers. 43 Super 12 tries.
Oh, and one of the world's best hookers. Look at that. No, the world's best hooker.
Wow.
That is a big call.
Pressure into points.
Oh, no, they love it on the Brumbies bench. They finally cracked that defence. It's taken a while. Joe Roth, 5 tries. He's now equal with Jeremy Paul as far as tries go this season. And they've laid on an absolute perler.
Well, Cansey, just give me one final wrap-up. That's the sort of ball you threw in your dreams, I think.
Well, Jeremy Paul will be very disappointed that it was Joe Roth outside him now that they've equalled in the try-scoring tally.
For the season, you mean?
And this, it won't happen again.
And Walker, he's got it on a string. Such a sweet striker of the ball. He turns 5 points into 7. And have a look at that scoreline now. The Brumbies, 16 points to 6. Have they just broken the shackles a little bit?
Well, if you look at it in fighting terms, I think the Sharks won the first round. A first-round victory, but they're still hammering away with some body blows. But they just got a nice little punch in. Just planted one on the jaw of the Sharks, but they'll come back.
Yeah, they went to their corner, had a chat to the trainer, and they'll come back out swinging because that's the way they've been playing.
Here it is.
But now have a look at this. Ruck-and-roll turnovers. The Sharks have coughed up 5. Those stats were 2-all at half-time, and it's George Smith. All 3 of those at the breakdown. He's been grabbing possession. A decisive stat. Other than that, he also put pressure on AJ Fenter in centre field. So it's been the Brumbies' first 12 minutes of the second half. All the pressure. This is a rare chance for the Sharks.
Smith goes to the back. Halstead straight ahead. Great defence by Larkham around the bootlaces. Now Davidson looks to just nudge it in behind the defensive line, and Walker's there. He fires it across to Roth, the try scorer, and Roth gets the kick away and into touch.
Very cool. Very cool play.
They are 2 of the most unflappable under pressure players. Walker to Roth. That's what you need back at the back with the custodial responsibilities. Look at, there's a face your mother couldn't love.
It's sloppy, but Smith is there to clean up and gives it to Larkham, and across it goes down to Cather. Cather to Holbeck, double round Cather. Bit of obstruction over there, but the referee says it's okay. That's Larkham.
Which James flying in again with a tackle, missed.
Jim Williams. Oh, Jeremy Paul.
Sorry, fellas, it was on me. Yeah.
That's where they need Owen
Too big
Finnegan.
for me. Scrum. Sorry, I got in the way.
Eddie O'Brien, the referee, apologising there. He got in the way.
Well, he's the last bastion of obstruction, the referee, and a lot of players know how to use the referee quite well.
Regan, he has led this team so well in 2001. And now it's Cather.
Brits there at the breakdown for the Sharks, just smashed out of the way as Giffen takes it on.
Great ball.
Go Roth! Nobody in front of him! Joe Cool! He's got a double! Oh, it opened up like the Red Sea. They are delighted. Joe Roth, take a bow, but what about the pass that put him into the gap? It's all working now for the ACT Brumbies, 21-6.
He's the leader without a role to play in the team. We said no Finnegan, they're having trouble penetrating at times. Roth said, I'll put my hand up. He's now equal Christian Cullen at the top of the... Look at him come from the right. He has come off the long run from the members end and straight through one of the world's greatest holes. You could have driven a semi-trailer through it. He's dived 2 metres before the line. Roth, 44 Super 12 tries.
Owen Finnegan there. Look at the boys. Yes, they are happy. Fingers, Mellon's never jumped so high in his life.
How big was that gap?
How well did he do to hang on to that ball? Sharks behind the post, just having a chat about their next steps. Andrew Walker slots the goal.
So the scoreline now, after it was 6-all at half-time, 23-6.
There's Joey Roth. He's pretty happy. He knows no one's going to get near him. Oh, yeah. Here come the boys. Joey, make me a cup of coffee.
What is he, a barista these days?
A barista, a matrismo.
We had a few questions about a matrismo some weeks ago. There's Charles van Rensburg.
He's being replaced by Brad McLeod Henderson. The 2-try hero at the moment. Joe Roth. Sharks have done well.
Oh, Butch James, great pickup.
Leon Kaiser.
Number 2. No, obstruction.
Obstruction against Warren Brits. He ran into his hooker, John Smith.
Jimmy Williams just starting to hurt a little bit there. The ribs would be aching.
But the adrenaline will be pumping.
Oh, yeah.
17 minutes gone. Big Jim, he won't want to leave the action. He's a tough character.
The Mexican wave started, a sure sign of confidence.
Yep.
That's the thing, the crowd really fires up when the home team gets away to a little bit of a jump like now.
Reminiscent of those golden days of the Blues from Auckland in the early years. They just sucked up so much pressure. Everyone threw everything at them in the first half, and then they were able to go on with it in the second. And we're seeing this from the Brumbies tonight. So far, you would think so. But the Sharks, they didn't come here to make up the numbers.
Oh, look at that defence.
Great tackle by Brits.
Switch of play. Larkham running back into the traffic, getting away from 1 or 2. That's a great run by Larkham when there was nothing on. Now it's Kafer. Again, the defence is solid from the Sharks.
Oh.
Advantage here.
Come on the side. Go away.
Cronenberg just trying to upset Regan's rhythm, but he's going to pay the penalty here.
What about Stephen Larkham ghosting through there, just threading a little angle through there? The Sharks come out of the line. They are such aggressive defenders. It does create holes when you're as good as Larkham. Have a look at Butch James there. That was the thing I didn't like. He just jumped in with another shoulder, hip, I don't know what it was. He just refused to use his arms. Been a lot quieter this half.
I've been impressed with the props from the Sharks. They've got through a mountain of work. Ollie LaRue, you just see disrupting the ball there. You just saw him disrupting the ball from the Brumbies in that last maul. He has been through a mountain of work.
And Etienne Finn, I've been mighty impressed by his game tonight. And John Smith, they have worked incredibly hard. Like Queensland last week against the Brumbies, they'd spent all their money at half-time. It's a similar show.
And Walker over the black dot. There's another 3. It's all smiles on the Brumbies bench now. 26 points to 6. Still a long way to go.
But you have to start to wonder, has the Shark spirit been broken? Walker says it has.
He's a pretty handy replacement kicker, Clarkie.
And I think his performance in the last 2 weeks, especially with the goal kicking, must enhance his chances of maybe forcing his way into the Wallaby 22-man squad. Fantastic utility to have. Someone that can kick some goals. Regan. Still right on top of it.
There, hold, black hold there. Oh, sorry. Wide hold there.
Justin Swart, he's been exceptionally quiet. Justin Swart hasn't had any opportunities.
The call from Mark Andrews, orange.
And it's gone straight to Giffen.
Keep it up, keep it up. No, they're fine.
Well, it wasn't an orange, it was a lemon, and Jimmy Williams runs away.
Now it's Regan, and Larkham cut out pass to Graham Bond. He runs straight into Kaiser. Got their legs pumping. Gregan. Larkham.
Come out, Black, come out!
Kafer goes to the air. Bit of pressure over there, but he stood his ground, Justin Swart. And there's the reply. Graham Bond running back and picking it up. Midfield it goes to Peter Ryan. They fire it across now to Kafer. And Walker. Walker straight through! Andrew Walker.
What is that?
It's a kick. He's opted for the kick to put some pressure on Ricardo Lobsher.
He knew exactly what he was doing, Greg Martin. What are you going on about?
No, I was just surprised at the angle. I don't know whether that's where he meant to kick it. I wasn't surprised at the kick, but let's just check. Great step off the left foot and took off. Just have a look. I'm not sure whether he did mean to kick it there. He's got great vision. But interesting enough, Lobsher's teammates, to a man, just said, put it out. They've just about had enough. I think they're writing checks. Their bodies are unable to cash in this second half. They've spent up the whole account.
Justin Harrison, I think it is, from Seamus and Trevor. Ben Darwin it is.
Rain just getting a tad heavier each time it stops and starts, but each time it starts again, it's just a tad heavier.
I don't think we'll complain. I think this very night last year it was snow.
The crowd won't be complaining. It could be third time lucky for the Brumbies, but here we go. The Sharks, they've got to be the next team to score, you would think.
That's the first line out taken against the throw by the Sharks.
James, a little grubber kick, and Larkham picks it up. Larkham got the pass away. George Smith, was he held on to? No, it's a knock on.
Sorry. No, lost forward before that.
Oh, a near thing there. Larkham, he just couldn't get the pass away. He had two men on the inside. Finally got a half pass away, and it went to ground.
Great tackle from Ollie LaRue. He comes in here from the side. The big man on the, well, light man.
Crouch and hold.
He's not a little man, Steve Larkham, but he is fairly light. Incredibly strong, can pump some weights.
Brits up towards the 22.
He's gone along on that occasion. The Brumbies have got Butch James' short kicking game nutted out.
This is where they're good, the Sharks.
Brits finding a runner up towards halfway. Davidson. Now it's Finn.
Get out of it, get out of it.
And Davidson. James. Elstead. Brumbies defence. So miserly at times. They've only conceded one try in 3 matches leading into this.
Leave it! Stay back, stay back.
Elstead with a dummy. Can't get away from George Smith. It's Smith. Can't steal it on this occasion. Now it's Ollie LaRue. Davidson and James are not really going anywhere at the moment, the Sharks. But they control it. It's Brad McLeod Henderson, the replacement on there. James, double round. Butch James now. It's sloppy. De Blanche. Back to Finn. Going nowhere. But they still have it, the Sharks. Stefan de Blanche says, I'll have a crack at it. Advantage for the Brumbies. So after all that, the Sharks come undone.
The Sharks have not seen any defence like this year. And I think when the history of Australian rugby is written, we owe a very big favour to rugby league in this country for teaching us how not only to tackle but to defend. Guys like John Muggleton, David Barnhill down here with the Brumbies have done so much for the defence of our game. It's wonderful. The Sharks looked up there. They did not know what to do when they were closed down.
Oh, I see the Springboks have also called on Les Kiss, a former Australian Rugby League player, to help them out with a bit of defence.
Awesome defence.
And there it was again, Joe Roth, as if 2 tries aren't enough. He causes that turnover as well. Just asked his fellow back where they're going out tonight.
Holbeck making the most of his opportunities tonight. James Holbeck, after a career that's really been knocked about by injury. Walker, Smith, Isroff. Jeremy Paul, another top ball over to Graham Bond. Bond on lobster, and the young fullback from the Sharks who is up to it.
They're looking for a quick throw.
There's another great ball from Jeremy Paul out wide as well.
Oh, it's good vision, and obviously it's good communication. The players know where they're supposed to be. We've said all along they play to a pattern, but they have such great communication. Swart came in off his wing, which meant it was left to Ricardo Lobb. Should have made the tackle, and he did. Bond isn't an easy target to pull down either. A couple of changes here, Clarkie. It was Lucas Van Biljon coming on.
Sean Sullivan going on as well, so AJ Venter feeling the effect of the travel schedule, and
Etienne Finn they've replaced as well.
Well, gee, Etienne Finn's been one of their best players tonight in the forwards. And AJ Fenter has been one of their best all year, if not their best all year.
26-6, Andrews wins it, but it's a bit sloppy at the back there. There's some pressure on the Sharks, so trying to regroup here. And James, chance down, and try time! It's David Giffen, who said during the week on our Inside Rugby program that he's equalled his best ever try-scoring season with 1. Well, now he's doubled it. He's got 2. David Giffen. He was there in 97, he was there in 2000, and now he's on the score sheet in 2001. And now I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Turn some pressure into points. He has pulled down so many throws, not just the Brumbies, but also the ones the Sharks have tossed in. And now he put the pressure on. This is just belligerent pressure. James onto the left foot, and he meant he took a lot longer to let it loose. It came off his head, known as a falcon. It lay screwing on the ground for a while Giffen slipped over out of shot now. It was there, it came back to him, and he was pretty happy. It's another try, his 2nd for the season.
He is prolific, a prolific try scorer. Now, chases through the ball, screwing her out. Oh, gee, are his legs in the field of play?
More celebrating going on the bench. Finnegan, there's Brett Robinson. He was captain in 97. And he's come all the way back from Oxford to be here tonight for the crowning glory.
Oh, turn it up.
Walker. There's another 2.
I'll tell you what, he's cool as a cucumber, but he's very happy with himself at the moment. Well, and so he should be.
We haven't said hello to the stadium at ABSA Stadium, Kings Park over there in South Africa. There were a big crowd expected. I think they might be ready to go home because it's getting to that time where the Brumbies are breaking loose. Giffen.
Harrison.
First knock on by White. First knock on number 4.
Well, Paul Honus must have spotted that one.
Yeah, mate.
6-all at half-time. 3 tries to the Brumbies in the second half, 33-6. Now,
Craig Davidson's coming off for the Sharks, and on is Henty Martins.
they're ringing the changes now. The Sharks, it was always going to happen. The question mark was always going to be the last 20 or so.
Let's go, Huff. Yeah. Stay.
Yeah, it really is a hard job for a team to come from South Africa to play a final
No, it's a collapse.
and win it away from home. Very, very tough. And the Sharks are one of the hardest hitting, most aggressive and dominant teams in this competition, but they're up against a red-hot side tonight.
Let's go back to the halftime comments of Eddie Jones. He said they knew that they were going to throw everything at them in the 40, but he said, we're ready to play. We're ready to go on with it, and that is exactly what has happened. They tow it through, so the Sharks, like they've been doing all second half, backpedaling, trying to clean up at the back. And there's a turnover.
George Smith, you are a pest to the opposition.
Jeremy Paul. It's there now, it's into touch.
Yeah, you called it. He has been hovering over that breakdown like a vulture all night.
Yeah, but just tell him to come on, mate. And 15 can go. Try and hold him, you're just stopping a player.
So we've got another replacement warming up as well.
Well, this is deja vu in terms of the flow of the game. This Huffy Detoy coming on. I'm not sure who for.
I think it might be Ricardo Lobsher who's going to be replaced, the young fullback.
I think you're right. Last week against the Queensland Reds, it was an identikit of a game. 7-6 at half-time. Tonight, 6-all. The Sharks just gave them so much curry, the Brumbies, but they soaked it up and they've been running away with this. Just with their plan, their pattern, their calmness and their clinical ability to scavenge the ball at the breakdown.
Hey, Phil Kearns, the message no doubt would be out there. Oh, in fact, they would need to be told, let's try and not concede any tries again tonight, because they've been keeping the opposition try-less in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they've got a lot of pride in their defence, and they want to make sure the Sharks, that there's Vandenberg again offside.
Advantage!
And now it's wafted.
2 knock-ons.
Just took his eye off
2
the ball
knock-on, no,
momentarily.
didn't interfere.
Gee, there was a hole there for J. Roth as well.
The Sean Sowerby replacement. Yeah, I think Joe was through the gap before he realised he didn't have the ball. A double in the second half, and that was the telling factor, really.
Well, have a look at the turnovers now. 6 times in this second half. The Sharks have turned it over at the breakdown when they had the ball. And there's the man responsible for, I think, 5 of them at least.
Graham Bond is leaving. He's done enough, and so he's been replaced. Has he? No.
James Holbeck's been replaced and Bond's moved into the centres.
Yes, okay.
Bartholomew's onto the wing.
There's his versatility. Bond into the centres. James Holbeck. What a match he's had.
Yeah, he showed a lot of guts, particularly in the first half.
Henty Martins with the put into the scrum.
The Brumbies need to keep playing, show respect to their opposition. That's what they're doing. Bond.
Great attacking position again. Kafer, Larkham, Roth looking for a hat-trick. Larkham went without it. And Larkham, he's down in back play. He copped a hit after he dropped that ball. Advantage is over, though, for the Sharks now. This is Smith going straight ahead. He got rid of Rod Kafer, but then Kafer came and held on to a bootlace. Now it's Lucas Van Biljon.
He's taking off where Eddie and Finn left off.
2 Brumbies down in back play.
So they've got some numbers now. The Sharks, that's Sowerby, about 25 metres out. It's still there. Happy Detoy. Detoy, one to beat, throws it back on the inside. And it's into touch. The Brumbies, they scramble back there again.
The communication between Peter Ryan and Andrew, there's a bit of a blue going on in centre of field. Harrison's having a go, but Walker, there's Brumbies down, there's players hurt. Harrison and Andrews, I think, may have been having a bit of a set to.
Surprise, surprise. Butch James involved again. Harrison and he are having a nice little discussion. Larkin's still down. It's Roth. They've just coming back.
Larkin back on his pins as well.
Yeah, it was when he just spilt that ball. Gee, that seemed like a lot of minutes ago. He got absolutely hammered. It may have been by Butch James.
Go on, hold it. No. Okay.
Rain falling.
Okay.
The Brumbies well in control, 33-6. But the Sharks would love a try that might be a consolation try for them.
Hands off White! Leave it!
Gave it everything. They've come up against a red-hot Brumbies team in the second half. James, Halstead, there's just no way through there. Martins.
Stay back.
Vandenberg and now Ollie LaRue.
George Smith is in there.
Kaiser can't find a way through. Ran into Van Darwin and David Giffen. Who wants it? Vandenberg to James. Sowerby. A drive towards the line. The Sharks. Advantage for the Brumbies, though. Regan's back in position, so too is Walker. It's not a great pass, but Walker gets the kick away, and it is a pearler.
Oh, the cameraman's been hit. It was a scorcher, but they're coming back into counter-attack now. To Blanche.
They're playing catch-up. Trying to open it up. Big defence there. Gregan. Giffen was in there to lend a hand, and now George Smith goes in. He's on his feet, Smith, trying to snaffle the ball.
Come back.
But it comes back.
Come back.
Martins, and now James surveying the options. Hands it off to Smith. There's no way through.
Leave it.
Ollie LaRue. Matt Weaver wraps him up, and he got the pass away, and now James over on the other side. And somebody find a hole for the Sharks. They've left it behind.
They've got no one running at depth or pace, the Sharks.
Yes, it's fairly lateral at the moment.
And that ain't the way to beat the Brumbies. They need someone picking and driving and slightly... Well, they're not going to get a chance now. Smith has the ball.
It was smothered immediately, though. But Gregan is there. Back it goes. And Roth picks downfield, and it's into touch.
Yeah, he gives them a bit of cop that.
What number, Stu?
Touch judge having a chat to Paddy O'Brien.
George, number 8, sub.
So we've got a sub happening here for the Brumbies, and it might be Jim Williams that finally is going to have a breather. This is Radiki Samo. Hasn't seen too much action in the Super 12 this year, but gee, he's a fairly handy replacement to come on fit. Just as the opposition defence is tiring, he could create a little bit of havoc out there.
Well, the Brumbies have been very smart tonight. They lost Finnegan, who's a man that they generally play running out wide, and they've had to adjust their game plan, adjust their moves, and think a little bit differently about the way they'll approach things. George looking fairly relaxed.
The new father of one. He'll be able to crank up those cigars very shortly to celebrate the birth of his son on Tuesday.
Right. Well, I look at him scrummaging first. He's got to go into prop. No, he's got to go in.
A bit of a debate there about the safety issue. If they lose another prop, what happens then? But of course, you can't worry about that until the scrum actually is called for. So the Sharks have it inside their own territory.
Stay.
Smith, led by Giffen, who's been solid. They've all played well, haven't they? I've been impressed with the commitment from the survivors from the first final they played in '97, as we see the grubber kick go through, and now Roth is losing his footing. Yeah, Giffen was there, Gregan, Larkham, Roth, Kafer, Holbeck. Just Finnegan and Robinson looking on from the sideline. Harrison, George Smith, wrapped up by Mark Andrews.
Oh, super ball again, Jeremy Paul.
And now it's Graham Bond. Bond, Jim Williams still out there. And Bartholomew's manages to hold on. The Brumbies just looking for the sealer. One to well and truly wrap it up. And it's Larkin. Back on the inside it goes. Bartholomew's, oh, big tackle from Andrews. Picked up now by Ryan, who passed it back to Bregan.
Have a look for someone to take the quick tap.
Number 5. Had a call.
Well, what do they do here? Do they take the 3? Do they give everybody a breather? Yeah, I think that's the case.
Yeah. George Gregan certainly he wants to take the points, wrap it up. No bonus points for 4 tries tonight, Parky.
And Jim Williams. Will he leave or will he stay?
He has been playing with a terrible rib problem. So the rib comes onto the sternum for about 3 weeks now. Playing and training through pain.
You just bring him, just tell him to get on, tell him to get off your third time.
Walker. Legs go up again. He keeps his perfect record intact. And so that is now 36 points to 6. 36-6, 78th minute. Samo may not get on there now. Probably going to take a forklift to get Jim Williams off there. He'll want to stay on. Ollie LaRue, can't believe it. Gave it everything. The 28-year-old Springbok in his 67th Super 12 match, Ollie LaRue. They've all played well, the Sharks. They can hold their heads high. What a season it's been. Cellar dwellers last year. Second after the regular season on the points table. So the restart. And who wants it? Penalty. David Giffen and Mark Andrews.
I think he's got an eye on the Tri-Nation series, trying to get a bit of one-upmanship on. It was Vandenberg who actually took him out in the air. It was Albert Vandenberg, then Andrews behind. Oh, it was a team effort. Have a look at that. The combo. It's almost like WWF tag team action, and the guy just doesn't leave the ring. There's a familiar sight, Harrison, who's been strong all night as a target in the lineup.
Brumbies trying that inside pass, looking for a hole. They've got it well and truly wrapped up. It's third time lucky for the ACT Brumbies, and at long last an Australian team will be lifting the Vodafone Super 12. New Zealanders won it in the first 5 years. Walker. There's a step on.
Thanks, mate.
It's play on.
Leave it! Leave it!
Gregan.
There's a few holes out wide here too.
Giffen up to the 22. The final assault. The playing advantage. Lost forward by the Sharks.
Well, the turnover came, but it resulted in a drop ball. And the Brumbies were about to see the last piece of silverware remaining to be added to the Australian rugby coffers, or at least the ACC.
Gregan, what a week for him.
Take your time. Crouch and hold.
What are the odds of a Stephen Larkin field goal?
Let's go, George. Let's go, let's go.
Just to rub a little more salt into the wound, but it's gone back to Kafer. He's going to have a shot. Well read, Greg Martin. Will it have the legs? The direction is out to the right. It's gone dead. It's all over. Take a bow. ACT Brumbies, champions in 2001, and didn't they do it in style in the second half? Disappointment in 97, heartbreak in 2000, but now jubilation in 2001. 6 all at half-time, then 2 tries to Roth, 1 to Giffen. Walker perfect with the boot tonight. full time in the Vodafone Super 12 final. The Brumbies from Australia, 36. The Sharks from South Africa, 6.